presentation, I have 6 parts: a summary of Hannah's life and summary of Gomer, and compare and contrast two women's lives, and threats of women of faith, and application and conclusion. So purpose of this study is through studying these two women's lives, I'm looking for 2 things: what kind of life I should continually pursue for the rest of my life, and how we should pray for the next generation women of faith, and what prayer support they need. So first, Hannah, the prayer mother. The story is taken from 1 Samuel chapter 1 and 2. So there was a certain man from Ramathaim, Jubite, from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah. He had 2 wives. One was called Hannah, and the other was Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. So whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, and the Lord had closed her womb. And because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. And this went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. So in her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. And her lips was moving, but her voice was not heard. So Eli thought she was drunk, and said to her, how long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. But Hannah was explaining that I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. And Eli answered, go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked him. Then she believed it, and she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. So by prayer and faith, Hannah bore the son Samuel, who was dedicated to God by mom's faith, and who was the last and the greatest judge, raised to 2 kings of Israel. And after the boy was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. Each year his mother made him a little robe and took it to him when she went up with her husband to offer the annual sacrifice. And Eli saw that the couple was very faithful, and blessed Elkanah and his wife, saying, may the Lord give you children by this woman, to take the place of the one she prayed for and gave to the Lord. Then they would go home, and the Lord was gracious to Hannah. She gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the boy Samuel grew up in the presence of the Lord. So these Hannah's songs of praise.
Let us listen Hannah's song of praise. My heart rejoices in the Lord. In the Lord my horn is lifted high. My mouth boasts over my enemies, for I delight in your deliverance. There is no one holy like the Lord. There is no one besides you. There is no rock like our God. Do not keep talking so proudly, or let your mouth speak such arrogance, for the Lord is a God who knows, and by him deeds are weighed. The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who were hungry are hungry no more. She who was barren has borne 7 children, but she who has had many sons pines away. The Lord brings death and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and raises up. The Lord sends poverty and wealth. He humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. For the foundations of the earth are the Lord's. On them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful servants, but the wicked will be silenced in the place of darkness. It is not by strength that one prevails. Those who oppose the Lord will be broken. The Most High will thunder from heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed.
It's really beautiful, and through this trouble, the Hannah experienced really God and God's sovereignty and almighty and grace. And Gomer, promiscuous woman. So passages from Hosea chapter 1 and 2. The word of the Lord that came to Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithful to the Lord." She conceived and bore him 3 sons. And she said, "I will go after my lovers who give me my food and my water, my oil and my linen, my olive oil and my drink. Therefore I will block her path with thorn bushes. I will wall her in so that she cannot find her way." So she couldn't be faithful to her husband till the end. So she was considered as unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. So 3 sons' name was Jezreel. "I will put an end to the king of Israel." And Lo-Ruhamah, meaning not loved, and Lo-Ami, meaning that not my people. So as we see that all her sons were named in very disgraceful way. And Lord said to me, "Go show your love to your wife again. Though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress, love her as the Lord loves the Israelites. Though they turned to other gods and loved the sacred raisin cakes, so I bought her for 15 shekels of silver and about a homer and a lipstick of barley." So she was redeemed by the Hosea again, by God's command. So she was able to come back only by God's grace. And then Hosea gave her clear direction. "You are to live with me many days. You must not be a prostitute or be intimate with any man, and I will behave the same way towards you." So this is a contrast to the Hannah's song. This is God's lament and curse over unfaithful and promiscuous woman.
Let us listen God's remnant and curse over unfaithful and promiscuous woman. Rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her remove the adulterous look from her face and the unfaithfulness from between her breasts. Otherwise I will strip her naked and make her as bare as on the day she was born, will make her like a desert, turn her into a parched land, and slay her with thirst. I will not show my love to her children, because they are the children of adultery. Their mother has been unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. She said, "I will go after my lovers, who give me my food and my water, my wool and my linen, my olive oil and my drink." Therefore I will block her path with thorn bushes. I will wall her in so that she cannot find her way. She will chase after her lovers but not catch them. She will look for them but not find them. Then she will say, "I will go back to my husband as at first, for then I was better off than now." She has not acknowledged that I was the one who gave her the grain, the new wine and oil, who lavished on her the silver and gold, which they used for Baal. Therefore I will take away my grain when it ripens, and my new wine when it is ready. I will take back my wool and my linen, intended to cover her naked body. So now I will expose her lewdness before the eyes of her lovers. No one will take her out of my hands. I will stop all her celebrations, her yearly festivals, her new moons, her Sabbath days, all her appointed festivals. I will ruin her vines and her fig trees, which she said were her pay from her lovers. I will make them a thicket, and wild animals will devour them. I will punish her for the days she burned incense to the Baals. She decked herself with rings and jewelry, and went after her lovers, but me she forgot, declares the Lord. Therefore I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. There I will give her back her vineyards, and will make the valley of Acre a door of hope. There she will respond as in the days of her youth, as in the day she came up out of Egypt.
It's very opposite of Hannah's song, very miserable, and how simple and disgraceful it is described over here. So the compare contrast between these two women's life, it's a main focus I see is their situations and problems. Both of them, they have problems, but their way of solving problems were totally different. So it made me think about what kind of problems we can have in our lives. It could be physical or emotional. So it could be barrenness like Hannah, an economic problem, or health or relationship problem, or flesh desire, or addictions. So we can have many life problems. But one thing we can learn from Hannah's life is her faith that helped her to grow through problem solving, or if we don't, the life fails through life problems. And another thing is pray with deep anguish and be faithful and experience God. That was Hannah's life. But the Gomer was chasing after flesh desire and became unfaithful and disgraceful. So takeaways from these two stories: live with a clear direction and purpose. So in Hosea's direction, he says, you are to live with me many days. You must not be a prostitute or be intimate with any man, and I will behave the same way toward you. So what God really wanted to Israelites was faithfulness, and the live depending on God's mercy. So the another word from Hosea, God says, I will plant her for myself in the land. I will show my love to one I called, not my loved one. I will say to those called not my people, you are my people. And they will say, you are my God. So even though temporarily God called them as not my loved one or not my people, but he wouldn't say that till the end. But this is God's grace that he will call them my people, and you are my God again. It's God's salvation and grace. So we can learn that how we should live depending on God's mercy, like Hannah was depending on God when she was in deep anguish and distress. So applications. This while I'm preparing made me remind me about Mother Sarah Berry in our ministry. Her life that I can think of was selfless life, and she lived as a Bible teacher and a mother of prayer. So that is really beautiful life before God and influential before God. And for our next generation mother of prayer, the web page I searched, it says many this generation, the young generation was exposed to many media, and they are exposed to so much information. So it's representing the exposure, or it might be like helping them, maybe represent them as more flexible. But what they really need is they have a clear spiritual value and spiritual moral standards. So they will need support on this to build up clear spiritual values and spiritual moral standards. So conclusion through this the studies for our next generation, our prayer topic in our UBF prayer topic is to grow next to spiritual, global spiritual leaders. And God is working diligently on young people's heart to fulfill this prayer topic. I believe in that. And I remember one day on Daily Bread message that what should be the church's role on that is church should be the place that many young men can grow healthy by spiritual mother's prayer support and many young girls grow with the spiritual value and daughters of God, as a daughters of God. So pray for our New Jersey Mothers of Prayer to be spiritual figures of women of faith, and our growing girls to grow with a close relationship with God.